It's been a while since I've gotten to share a story that wasn't at least somehow related to cancer or my situation right now. It's just a hopefully interesting, completely unrelated story that I get to share because this is who I am. I'm a storyteller. I share what happens. So here's what happened a couple of days ago. Well, actually, let's backtrack. When I was traveling last year, I was in Nicaragua. I wanted to get my teeth cleaned before I came back because it's super cheap over there. But then the whole like, oh, you might have testicular cancer thing and you got to come back to Canada as soon as possible to get everything checked out kind of happened. And I just didn't have time to go see a dentist before I left. So, as you know, turned out not to be testicular cancer, although I ended up having another kind of cancer that is much, much worse. But that's beside the point. Wow, I did somehow bring it back to cancer. Cool. I guess I've developed the skill of somehow linking every single story that I tell to cancer somehow. Cool, good to know. Anyway, back to the story. So, because of that, I didn't get a chance to clean my teeth over there, and here it's much more expensive. And initially, when I first came back, the plan was get an online job, go back to Nicaragua, get like moving with my girlfriend, get married, start the immigration process. I'm like, oh, I'll just wait a couple months till I go back, get my teeth clean over there since it's cheaper. And then the whole, you have cancer thing, you can't travel, you have to be here every 3 weeks, you can't get on a plane thing. And so I'm like, oh crap, now I'm stuck here. And then, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. But then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm getting a new job. I have dental insurance with my job. Let's wait a couple months till that kicks in so I can go and either not have to pay for it or pay like 10%. So it's like, all right, if it costs 200 bucks, 300 bucks, it's like 20, 30 bucks. Okay, that's basically the same price I would have paid in Nicaragua anyway. So it really doesn't make a difference. So anyway, all that to say, took forever, but I finally managed to schedule an appointment for a couple days ago. And for some reason, they called me like 6 times to schedule the appointment to say like, oh, by the way, this is the price. And I'm like, I don't care, insurance is paying. And then it's like, oh, we have this spot available. And then it's like, oh, can you confirm this? And then it's like, oh, turns out we have a spot today instead of tomorrow. Do you want to do it today? And it's just like, it's not that big a deal. But it's like, I booked an appointment. That should have been one call, maybe two if they're doing a confirmation call. That's it. Like, why do they have to call me 6 times? So already I'm like, all right, this is kind of weird. I've not experienced this before, but it's not like they did anything bad. It's just they called a lot. So I'm like, all right, not a great first impression, but whatever. Show up there, and then I have to fill out the form. And in the past, filling out forms is super easy because I don't take any medication, never really had any illnesses aside from asthma when I was young. So filling those out was always like, no, 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 super easy, super quick. Now that I have cancer, see, I brought it back to cancer again. Now that I have cancer, turns out it's way more difficult and way longer to fill out those forms. So that was another hurdle to jump over or through. Do you jump over hurdles? Yeah, you jump over hurdles. Anyway, so eventually that was done. Then I go in and they start the cleaning. And turns out instead of being a dental hygienist who does the cleaning, it was the actual dentist who did the cleaning. So I'm like, okay, whatever, who cares? I'm assuming she knows how to do it. So, x ray, dental exam, followed by the cleaning. And I don't know what the technical term for it in English is. In French, it's called the tache mésentérique, which is basically stains that develop on the teeth. It's not like no one knows what it is. I've asked the doctors every single time I go, no one knows. It's not a sign of you don't brush your teeth well. It's just some people, for some reason, develop stains on their teeth. And I'm one of those people. I've always had that. My dad has it. There's nothing I've ever been able to do about it. The only way to handle it is just get cleanings every 6 months or so. And because of the travel and everything I was explaining in the beginning, it's been about a year and a half since I got them. So it's like it was a little more intense than normal. So anyway, they do the cleaning, and at the end of the cleaning, they mention, oh, by the way, we got most of them out, but there's still a few that remain. Don't be surprised. I'm like, this has never happened before. In the past, they're always able to remove them, even when it had been more than 6 months. And then I mentioned, in the past, other dentists have used a salt cleaning. I don't remember the technical term. But yeah, anyway. And they're like, oh yeah, we could do that, as if like they didn't even think of that, as if like they didn't even realize, oh yeah, we could use this to get rid of it. So I'm like, okay, that's not really a good sign, but whatever. So they're like, oh, we can't do it in this room. Let me go check if the room where we can do it is available. So, delay, blah, blah, blah. Eventually they come back like, oh, okay, we can do it. Let's move over to the other room. So we do it, move over, and then they do the salt cleaning. And I don't usually like to criticize people, but this dentist seemed to really suck at it. Like, she kept hitting the gums, and I don't know, like, I get it. Sometimes you can hit a bit, but it's like, by the end, I probably had like half a dozen cuts. And also by the end, when you're done, you're just like, okay, you can rinse out your mouth. And it's like you drink a little water or put water in your mouth, swish it around, and spit it out. It's like it wasn't a little pink because there was a little blood. It was red. I'm like, okay, this has never happened before. So I'm like, all right, this sucks. I have cuts in my on my gums. And turns out, once I came back home and I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, they didn't even get all the stains. So it's like, all right, there's still stains. They cut up my gums, which really sucks. And I'm like, all right, this is just a bad experience overall. But I'm not the type to like complain. But I'm like, given the type of experience I've had, it's only right that I write a review. But I'm like, it wasn't horrible. Everything else aside from those few details relating to stains and the cuts and everything else was fine. So I'm like, I'm going to give it 3 stars, but explain everything that happened honestly and openly. So I write the review. I'm like, whatever, write it, post it. The next day, I get a call. I'm like, okay. I answer, and it's the dentist. Well, not the dentist, but the dentist's office calling, saying like, hey, we saw your review. Would you mind coming in to see the doctor, like the main dentist, the owner of the clinic? He would like to see, who would like to examine your gums to make sure they're okay. He would like to do another cleaning and, really make up the poor experience you had. And I was like, okay, cool. And at the end of the call, she's like, if we can fix everything, would you mind removing your review? So I'm like, oh, great, of course. That's why they're calling. And of course, when I said that, I'm like, well, what I said was, I don't appreciate or I don't agree with you trying to make up for it just so I can get rid of the review and then you have a better Google rating. And she was like, oh, no, of course, that's not why we're doing that. And she sounded really sincere. And she's like, we would have done the exact same thing even if you called us directly. It has nothing to do with the review. And I'm like, whatever, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So I go back in the next day, speak with the doctor, the dentist. He does the cleaning and everything, and now he like does it properly. All the stains are completely gone. He checked the gums. He's like, yeah, okay, everything's good now. It's healed. So everything was good. This second experience was really, really good. But because of the first one, I'm like, it's only fair that I give an honest overall review. So I wrote an update. I'm like, here's the original review, 3 stars. Here's the update to the review, which brings the average for the full review to 4 stars. It would have been 5, but because of the overall experience I had, not just the second visit, it's a 4-star review rather than 3, which is completely fair. And, they responded to the review saying like, hey, sorry for the poor experience you had. Thank you for allowing us to make up for it and everything was good. It ended up well, but I'm just like, I've never had such a complex experience for just going again the dent. Wow, I can't talk. See, they messed up my mouth so much that I can't talk. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I've never had such a complicated experience for a simple teeth cleaning. Like it doesn't make sense. But on the plus side, it makes an interesting story, and I've learned that I now have developed the skill of linking any single story that I tell back to cancer. So that's something. But yeah, it was fun telling a different kind of story. This was nice. So hopefully this was entertaining. Thank you for watching, and I'll check back in whenever something else happens. Hopefully something good. That would be nice.